Yo lo quiero montar, ¿eh?
No, pues sí, yo.
It looks like we can get started here now. If everyone can just get settled in, we'll start the press conference. We've had a tremendous turnout, a tremendous response to the show, the Superfly 2 show. We had an extremely successful show, Superfly 1, this last September at the StubHub Center. And I sat down with Peter Nelson, and we tried to brainstorm how can we exceed the expectations of Superfly 1. We had such a great show with Cicerquet showing his championship medal with a knockout over Chocolatito, one of the knockouts of the year. We had Inoue making his HBO debut, and naturally Juan Francisco Estrada with the narrow victory over Carlos Cuadras. So it was a great show, but I have to say, with the help of HBO and Peter Nelson, we were able to outdo ourselves. This time we have 3 world title fights. We have a WBC Silver Championship fight, plus a tremendous undercard. So I just want to get the spotlight on the fighters. This will be the first show officially for 360 Promotions. It's the new company that we started. And to be on HBO, to have At the Forum, to be sponsored by Tecate and Chivas is really an honor for us to be on that level, that platform for the first show. We had the media training yesterday, tremendous workout, response from the media, the fans. One announcement I'd like to make, because of the fan demand and the ticket sales for this level of championship caliber fights and show, that we're actually going to open the upper level at the Forum today. They're going to be released at $50. So we're expecting a great atmosphere at the Forum on Saturday night. That's a statement. When you can open the upper level of the Forum for the flyweight, super flyweight divisions, it just shows the respect that the fans and the media have for these champions sitting up here. They respect all these matchups. The flyweights, the super flyweights aren't afraid to fight each other. We have the 2 best fighters sitting here, champion Cicerquet Runvisai fighting the #1 mandatory contender, Juan Francisco Estrada. You don't see that in the heavier divisions, where champions won't fight each other, where the best guys won't fight each other. And here you have literally all world-class top 5 fighters sitting on this dais, both in the flyweight and super flyweight division. With that, I'd like to acknowledge a longtime friend, someone who's really been instrumental showcasing Triple G in America, showcasing Chocolatito in America, showcasing the Klitschko brothers in America. Our television partner on this platform, HBO. Chocolatito was always a great champion. When he got his HBO debut, it really took his career to a different level and opened up the doors and the spotlight for all these champions sitting here on the dais. So with that, I'd like to bring up Peter Nelson of HBO.
Thank you, Tom. I want to thank all the media for turning up today. It was a great turnout for an exciting event. And first and foremost, I want to thank LA Forum. It's always great to be working with the Forum and MSG, and I want to thank Joel Fisher and his team, South Federico, who's here as well. Tom Loeffler. I mean, there are so many promoters working on the show together with Tom, and I think it's a testament to the commitment that Tom has proven to the fans to make whatever sacrifices are necessary to make in order to put on the best possible fights. I mean, just on the show alone, in the main event, we have the Thai Tanks Bank here, who's been a long friend of mine. We got on the Estrada side, Fernando Beltran, and we want to give a great thanks to Xanthro Promotions as well. In Cuadras against Arroyo, we have Peter Rivera working together with Osvaldo Quicle, and then in the opening bout we have Nietes against Rebeco with Osvaldo Rivera. So we just have so many different parties working on this show from all different countries coming together. And I want to thank all the fighters and their teams for taking these fights. There were a lot of moments where it seemed like things were coming together and falling apart, and it's really a tribute to what these fighters want for their own legacies, that they're here today looking to make a big statement on February 24th. As Tom mentioned, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that it was really Chocolatito and his career that paved the way for all of us to be here today. And so to that extent, I really want to thank Mr. Honda for trusting me and Tom to work with him with Chocolatito last year and the year before that, as we head into the first Superfly show. And now we have this Superfly show, and we're hoping that Saturday night delivers and we're seeing more Superfly shows in the future. Who knows where all these fighters are going in their careers, but certainly we're starting to see the pound-for-pound recognition start to coalesce around certain of these fighters, and particularly I think the winner of Runvisai against Estrada can stake a claim to being in the top 10 of that group. So I want to thank all the fighters and their teams for being here. Even if you can't watch it on HBO, if you're going to be there in the arena, you're going to see some great fights on the untelevised undercard, including my man Brian Melorio over here, and I want to thank Gary Gitelson wherever he is. World champion Macallan Burchell is here. I want to give a shout out to him. Where is he? Miguel? Where is he? There. Give this guy a round of applause, please. Great fighter. Looking forward to seeing more of him. So our start time is 9:30, so for a triple header, 6:30 PT here, 9:30 ET. And we're excited to be getting an early start time to get the night underway for fans, get the main event on at a reasonable hour. We look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Peter. Once again, we can't stress enough, without HBO support of this division, the flyweight, the super flyweight division, and Chocolatito, we wouldn't have this show. And this really seems to be the show, the beginning of 2018 that everyone's talking about. Naturally, we have Cinco de Mayo with Triple G and Canelo, but right now everyone's talking about Superfly 2 and just the response at the forum. Again, when you can open up the upper level for these type of champions, it's just a tremendous statement to the popularity that Chocolatito has achieved on the HBO platform, and now everyone sitting up here being on the HBO platform. I'd also like to introduce not only Macallan Burchell, but there's another WBC champion in the house. It's Daiga Higa is the 115. No, I'm sorry, the flyweight WBC champion right there. Yes. Daiga Higa. Daigo is 15 wins with 15 knockouts. As I mentioned, the WBC flyweight champion. So you might see Daigo on a future Superfly show, depending on if Peter Nelson can afford to bring him in from Japan. With that, there's 3 WBC championship fights on this show. We're very proud of the association with the WBC. I've had a long-standing relationship with Don Jose Suleiman. His son Mauricio Suleiman, the current president, is walking in some giant footsteps with Don Jose, really one of the pioneers of the sport of boxing, with a lot of the reforms, medical reforms, changing the rounds from 15 rounds to 12-round championship rounds, and so many things that he implemented, and really fighting for the champions. So with a tribute to Don Jose, to Mauricio, I'd like to bring up Pepe Suleiman, who's representing the WBC.
Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. We're in Hollywood, so as they say in Hollywood, picture this. The story began in Mexico when Cuadras took the belt from Runvisai. Then, later here at the forum, Chocolatito defeated Cuadras. Then at the Madison Square Garden, Runvisai surprised the world, surprised everybody, defeating Chocolatito. Then Tom Loeffler had this great vision for creating the Superfly, and it was in this first card that where the concept was born. At the Stockholm Center, Runvisai knocked out Chocolatito. Then in the semifinal, Estrada won the right to fight Carlos Cuadras for the championship. So we went with great pride. Today we have the Superfly with Estrada. We'll seek his green and gold belt against a great champion, Runvisai. Carlos Cuadras and Williams Arroyo will fight for the WBC silver champion, silver belt, which is it's vacant right now, so they will be fighting for this belt. And well, as everyone knows, you know, the WBC is committed to making the best fights, to getting the best fight against the best in the ring. We want to congratulate Runvisai because he honored his responsibility as a champion, accepting the rematch against Chocolatito. In the same way, he committed immediately to this mandatory WBC defense, which many fighters first take a lighter fight, you know, not so hard. But you know, he stepped in the ring and he stepped in as a real champion. So we really want to congratulate Tom Loeffler for this great vision. Also, I'm sorry, they have a female card. Also for the international champion, this will be between Luisa Houghton and Anaí Torres from Mexico. Luisa is from Australia. So they will be fighting for this belt. So just a reminder, a lot of you know, the WBC is the one responsible for most of the rules, if not all of them. And in 1975, the WBC created the intermediate weight divisions because it was very tough for the fighters to go up or stay in the weight. It was even dangerous. So this is Superfly. This is an intermediate weight division, and we are in our way to the 2000 fight of the title fight of the WBC. This fight is a 1976 fight. So I really want to thank you, congratulate all of our champions. It's not always easy to see all the world champions in a press conference that is not for their fight. And I really want to congratulate and may the best fighters win. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pepe. Building on what Pepe says, it's a real treat in addition to this show. All the undercard fights will be streamed by ringtv.com. Many times undercard fights, they're great in the arena, but they don't get the exposure if they're not on the televised network. We had to make extra arrangements for this great championship fight between Brian Deloria and Artem Dalakian to be shown internationally. But that'll be the highlight, really the main event of the Ring TV stream. So make sure anyone that can't come to the arena, make sure they know to tune in to ringtv.com to watch the fights. The undercard fights, that is. With that, I'd like to introduce someone who has a magnetic personality. A lot of times, the female fighters steal the champions. Steal the spotlight from the male fighters as a champion. So I'd like to introduce all the way from Australia. She's managed by Elvis Grant. She is fighting for the WBC International title, as Pepe said, Louisa Houghton.
Here we go. Wow, I'm so excited to be here. Finally arrived here in the US and have my US debut. Firstly, I'd like to thank God for the opportunity for me to be able to live out my dreams. I'd like to thank Tom for giving me the opportunity to be here and showcase alongside these great champions. I'd also like to thank my team, Elvis Grant and Jimmy Montoya. I believe I've got the true OGs beside me, and we're here to take over the world. So, you know, I started this journey of boxing 4 years ago, and I really believe that boxing saved my life. I didn't have a lot. I just had me and my children, and not after my 6th fight, I was preparing for a world title fight at home in my garage to take on the Japanese superstar. So we went over there to Japan and caused a major upset and won the WBO championship, which I was super hyped and so happy. I worked really hard and worked hard for all that I had. You know, it was just a small garage, but we did what we needed to do and got the job done. And now I'm finally here and arrived here, which has been a dream for me, just to get over here and showcase my skills alongside other champions. And I really believe that women's boxing hasn't really deserved the respect that we need and that we deserve. We work just as hard as the men. So, you know, I think that God's given me this gift, and I'm here to open up the doorways for a lot of other women, a lot of younger women coming up and coming through, and hopefully be an inspiration to them. Peter Nelson, hope you're listening. I'm just so blessed to be here today, and I'm so excited, and I've got a lot to give, and I just can't wait to show you what I have, and I just want to thank God for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. Make sure you get a chance to talk to her directly afterwards. Louisa has a tremendous story from Australia. Like she said, she went to Japan, beat the WBO champion in a major upset. For her, I'm sure she was confident and her team was confident, having Elvis Grant and Jimmy Montoya in her corner. Like she said, the two OGs. Elvis might be a little bit older than Jimmy, but a lot of experience in that corner. But Louisa has a tremendous personality, very magnetic, and I know she's going to put on a great fight on the show. The door's open, just to get back to the form. The doors open at 3. The terrace actually opens at 3 o'clock. There's a lot of people who like to come out to the forum, get there early, like to go tailgating. The terrace will be open at 3 o'clock. The doors open at 3:30. The first fight should be about 3:45. So we stress everyone should come early. The last Superfly show, it was packed from the first fights because they knew the undercard fighters would be very exciting. Pedro Duran from locally here from Paramount, California, who's also with Zanfer. He sold a tremendous amount of tickets locally, so I know he'll have a lot of fans there. And Louisa she's come all the way from Australia to put on a tremendous show for everyone. I'd like to thank our sponsors. As I mentioned before, Tecate. The Tecate Terrace at the Forum will be opened up at 3 o'clock. The Tecate girls will be there, and the Tecate beer will be there. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. And as Peter alluded to, you know, our partners at the Forum and MSG, Joel Fisher, Sal Federico, who's here, someone in the crowd, he flew in from New York, landed today. Nick Stampanato at the Forum, Jenny Lincoln. We really appreciate all their support. This is a great venue, and again, when we can open up, our goal was to open up the upper level, and it's going to be like a soccer atmosphere in there on Saturday night with all the flags from the international fighters. I'd like to just, since this is our first show, I'd like to thank a few people on my side. First and foremost, Erica St. Philip, who's back there. She's been has been my right-hand person really since we did the very first show in 2004 when Vitaly Klitschko won the WBC Heavyweight Championship at Staples Center. So she's been with us. Roy Engelbrecht, Torsten Meyer, Melissa Moskow, Bernie Barmasel, Ricardo Jimenez doing the publicity, Mike Stiles doing the social media, Alan Gomez is helping, Roy Engelbrecht, everyone, I couldn't do it without a tremendous team behind us. And as Peter mentioned, this show only comes about not only with the fighters wanting to fight each other, but with the promoters willing to put the fighters they represent in with each other. I think, again, this is a show where I'm working with 7 or 8 promoters with different fighters, but it's everyone working together for the betterment of the sport of boxing and to put on a great show for the fans. We had a tremendous year, 2018, for boxing, and starting 2018 with a show like this, it's just a big statement that 2018 will be a tremendous year. And then also, naturally, the Cinco de Mayo fight coming up. We officially announced the Las Vegas for that fight. So with Triple G and Canelo. With that, I'd like to bring up. Getting into our World Championship fights. This gentleman comes all the way from Ukraine. When I tell you the amount of work that we did, the number of visas we needed to get for this show, not only for the fighters, but for their corners, for their managers, for the promoters, for their sponsors, and then all with coordination with the international television. We have 3 channels, if you can believe it, 3 channels in the Philippines showing fights on this show. We have 3 channels in Mexico showing the fights of this show. We have 2 channels in Argentina. We have Ukraine naturally showing the fight. Japan is showing the fight, and a tremendous number of international territories showing the fight. So it just shows how popular these World Championship fights are, and these guys and girls bring back the true definition of world champions. So I'd like to bring up Undefeated. I know a few things about working with Ukrainian fighters. I've represented a couple of Ukrainian heavyweights, the Klitschko brothers and Alexander Usyk, the tremendous cruiserweight talent from Ukraine. I've worked with all of them, so we're excited to have Undefeated 15-0 Artem Dalakian, all the way from Ukraine, to come up to say a few words, as well as Dmitry Yeliseyev to represent Union Box Promotion.
Good day, everybody. I'm glad to see you here. I'm happy to be here. I'm many thanks for the Tom and his team who invitation for us for our fight, and we very glad to see you again. I am representative Union Boxing Promotion. It's a nationality Ukrainian boxing team, and our boxer Artem Dalakian is very young, very strong, very imposant, and very brave boxer. I think in the Saturday we show big and big fight between Brian Viloria and Artem Dalakian. It's a vacant title. It's for us. It's a very great fight. Artem went for the fight all his sports life, and I think it's a show will be a fun and beautiful fight will be for us. Thank you, Artem.
Я рад, что я приехал сюда, в Америку, в Лос-Анджелес, и у нас здесь состоится бой с Брайаном Лори, и я думаю, что он захочет показать хороший бокс, и я думаю, что это все получится.
I'm very glad to come to the American, and I think it will be a great fight, and Brian Valoria and me will make a great fight, and Brian and me make everything to fight for the win.
Что я могу сказать за себя? Я готовился к этому бою, грубо говоря, всю свою жизнь, и мы к этому шли. И я думаю, что каждый боксер, который профессионально боксирует, хочет боксировать за звание чемпиона мира, и мне пришлось к этому идти. Я тоже хотел к этому, пришел к этому, и я буду боксировать за звание чемпиона мира, и покажу хороший бокс, и стану чемпионом мира, и отвезу пояс в Украину.
I and my company goes to that fight 15 years. I make everything for that, for winning this fight. I think I take the belt and go to the Ukraine and bring this belt in Ukraine.
Мы покажем хороший бокс, приходите, смотрите на бокс, и мои болельщики, что меня поддерживали, спасибо ему огромное, что желаю, чтобы понравился хороший бокс, и хороший бой мы показали.
We show good fight, and please come in and fun for us, and we show good fight.
Спасибо большое.
Many thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Artem and Dmitry. Again, that just gives you a first taste of the international flavor of this show. Again, Artem and Brian Valoria are fighting for the vacant WBA flyweight title. They're rated number 1 and 2, the top in their division, so it's going to be a tremendous fight. Don't forget to tune in to Ring TV for that fight. With that, I'd like to bring up someone who's really a fan favorite, a local favorite. A lot of people bought tickets specifically just to fight, to see Brian Valoria. I've known Brian for a long time. He's been on a number of our shows. I've known his manager, Gary Gitelson, for a number of years, so we're excited to have Brian on the show. And Brian is the only active member of the 2000 U.S. Olympic team. So it shows you how many, 18 years Brian's been fighting now professionally, and he's achieved so much in his career. If he wins Saturday night, he'll be a 5-time world champion, which is a huge statement in the sport of boxing. So with that, I'd like to bring up Gary Gitelson, who can introduce Brian Valoria.
Thank you, Tom. It's really a great pleasure to be here, to have this opportunity. I want to thank Tom Walker, first of all. I've worked with every promoter in boxing currently in business, and many promoters who are no longer in business. Courteously answered, I'm not used to that. But I am so glad for his success. I want to also thank Peter Nelson and HBO for having the vision to explore these lighter weight divisions. I can tell you that before Peter Nelson was president of HBO Sports, I sat in his predecessor's office begging them to feature these lighter weight fighters. I knew they gave honest accounts of themselves every time they got in the ring. I watched it, I loved them as a sports fan, but I couldn't get their attention. And it wasn't any, I don't know what the reason was. I remember his predecessor was saying to me, Gary, I'm like a air traffic controller. I've got a lot of wide bodies that have to come in, and I have to have the smaller plane circle. It was a good analogy, but I left with my head in my hands. Peter and his staff have opened up this in this division for the fans, and I think what Tom and Peter have created here is extraordinary. It wasn't always like this. The first Superfly event, which Brian headlined against Tyson Marquez a little over 5 years ago at the LA Sports Arena on a rainy November night, where the undercard fight, believe it or not, was Chocolatito against Estrada. I think there were more people in the room here than there were at that fight. But that was they were 2 Fight of the Year candidates. Well, Peter obviously did his homework and saw that this is great entertainment, and what is being built here is just fantastic, and I'm thrilled. There are more world champions in this. The only time I see world champions of this stature and this number is at a Hall of Fame ceremony. I mean, you have Diego Higa, who is a walking celebrity in Japan. You have Fuji TV here. As Tom said, we have 3 networks in the Philippines. We've got Argentine television. It's amazing, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of this. Ryan Valoria, as many of you know, is like a son to me. 18 years ago, he came and lived in my house. He was a boy from Hawaii who never left the island except for his international amateur experience. And he lived with me in my home for 6 months before we kind of kicked him out of the nest so he'd get his own apartment. And here we are, jump cut, fast forward, 18 years later, he's a 4-time world champion. On this card, fighting for his 5th world title. I like his chances very much. I think you're going to be treated to something very, very special, and that's before the televised HBO card. So I want to introduce Brian. He is really a special guy, a special athlete, and he's going to give you a very special performance on Saturday night. Brian?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank God for giving me the strength and the opportunity to be still competing at this level in my career. 18 years in boxing is it's been a long time. I feel like, but I feel like I'm still 21. I feel like I just, I can do this forever. But I know that I wouldn't be, and I'm so taking every fight like it's my last fight. This fight is for my 5th world title. I'm taking I've never trained harder ever than I did in this last camp. I want to say thank you to Tom Loeffler for putting a great card. I was fortunate enough to be on the first card, which saw great fights, and I hope this is going to live up to that, which I know is going to live up to that. Looking at all these world champions on the table and the dais with us. I want to thank my promotion taken and Mr. Honda for giving me this opportunity to fight on this wonderful card. Everyone that's out here, the press that's giving us the limelight and the opportunity to be fighting in front of you guys and to write about us. And Peter Nelson, who finally given our weight divisions the big stage that I thought we deserved for many, many years. Thank you so much, Peter. And I trained really hard for this fight. My last couple fights, I know I looked at it. I know I could have done a lot better, and I know I'm able to do a lot better. And so in this fight, I know I'm fighting for my 5th world title. I've trained my ass off. I've trained like I've never trained before, incorporated a lot of things in my training sessions that I've never done, or like I've done my last fight, but I, just tweaked up a lot of things that I know is gonna have me perform at my peak performance. And I know that come Saturday, I'm gonna try my best. I know I'm gonna perform to the best of my ability and show it to everyone in the world that I'm still a world champion. Thank you everybody for coming out, and hope you guys see you guys on Saturday, and let's go.
Thank you, Brian. For those of you who've seen the videos, Brian's not only going for his 5th world title, but I think is the undefeated jump rope champion. The display that he put on at the media training is tremendous. So again, we'd like to thank Union Box Promotion and Mr. Honda at Taken Promotions for really their assistance in putting this fight together. Now, before we get to the HBO fights, I'd like to bring up someone who's prominently featured on the undercard. He sold a tremendous amount of tickets. He's locally here from Southern California. I'd like to proudly bring up Mario Ramos. Mario has the ability to fight at an arena like the Forum. He's going to be the first fight of the night. His fight will be at 3:45, so make sure everyone gets there to see Mario. And like I said, he'll have a big rooting section already because he sold a tremendous amount of tickets. Thank you, Mario.
I want to thank the CC Promotion and Roy for giving me this opportunity to show who I am. And I want to thank all my sponsors, my managers, my coaches, my family for giving me all the support I need. And I know I'm the first fight, and just don't miss it. You guys don't want to miss it. Thank you.
The guys here on the dais, that's really what inspires fighters like Mario. So you have, he has the opportunity again to fight in a big venue like the Forum and on an HBO type of show. It's just, I think those are the type of opportunities that inspire him. And you know, he's one of those guys, up and coming guys, that really does his homework, markets himself, and again, we can't thank him enough for really supporting the promotion, selling tickets locally, and we're excited to feature Mario Ramos. With that, I'd like to get into the HBO portion. I mean, we've seen so many world champions already. Now we're just starting with the first fight of the HBO triple header. This is for the flyweight IBF World Championship of the World. Donnie Nietes, who's also had a tremendous career, many world title fights. Donnie Nietes has headlined as a main event twice here in the LA area at the StubHub Center. Now he's the first fight on the HBO broadcast. Again, this is one of those opportunities that Donnie has to be on the big stage, to be on HBO. It's really every fighter's dream, especially in these lighter divisions that really don't get the opportunities that the heavier divisions get. So I know Donnie is really looking forward to his HBO debut, and we're looking forward to having him on the show. With that, I'd like to bring up someone, so he's the mandatory challenger. Again, these are top 5 guys fighting each other in the, if not the 2 top fighters in the flyweight division. It's just again, you know, highlighting the international flavor of the show. A longtime friend of mine, Osvaldo Rivero, he's the promoter for Juan Carlos Revico. Juan Carlos, again, when I talk about visas, you know, it's one of those things. He's coming from Argentina, he's bringing his team in from Argentina, and we're working on visas, and I think he finally got the visas last Thursday or Friday of last week. So, you know, it's one of those things when you put on a show like this with so many international fighters, you're never quite sure when they're going to show up. So, they're going to get approved for their visas. With that, I'd like to bring up representing Osvaldo Rivero and his son, Sebastian Rivero, who can introduce Juan Carlos Revico.
Hello everyone. I would like to say thanks you all and welcome you. I'm here in representation of my new company. It's such a new company like 360 Promotion, KO International. We made this company with my sisters, Natalia Rivero, that could not be here because he's with my nephew in the room, and Georgina Rivero, that is in Argentina. We are following the work of our father for the last 30 years. The man standing there with the glasses, Osvaldo Rivero. I would like to thank all the team, Ariel Cuello, Mario Cosolino, Ernesto Naveira, Tomás Tosto Valenzuela, everyone here. I would like to thank, of course, Tom Lofer for the opportunity, for the kindly treatment, and all his company, 360 Promotion, Thorsten, Roy, Bernie. Believe me, this is great people. They don't leave anything left to chance. They are very professional. We feel really comfortable and secure to work with them. I would like to thank Mr. Peter Nelson for this opportunity, and congratulations for building this kind of event with such this kind of boxers. Like Mr. Representative of Ryan Viloria said, nobody take this division on count, and now with you, this is really, really important, and it has the importance that they deserve. So, well, thank you everyone. I would like to introduce Juan Carlos and thank him also because of the trust for all these years and work with us all these years.
Bueno, antes de nada, yo soy Rebeco, para muchos, obviamente acá en Estados Unidos desconocido. Para mí es un placer y un gusto estar en esta carrera tan hermosa, con todos los mejores moscas, yo me incluyo ahí. Así que la verdad muy contento y la verdad que feliz de estar acá. Hemos laburado durísimo con el equipo durante 2 meses. Así que bueno, obviamente que vengo con toda la expectativa de ser el campeón nuevamente del mundo.
Thanks. First of all, I would like to thank you everyone and welcome. My name is Juan Carlos Rebeco, for anybody that does not know me. I'm really glad to be here, very happy to be here with the world best boxers in my division. I work hard to be here. It's my dream to fight. It was my dream to fight in this place since I was young. And thanks again. I'm really, really happy.
Así que bueno, nuevamente muchísimas gracias por abrirme las puertas y bueno, que Dios los bendiga a todos.
First, once again, thank you all. Thank you for opening the door for me, and God bless you all.
Thanks, Juan Carlos and Sebastian. Juan Carlos is a two-time world champion, and he's the mandatory challenger for Donnie Nieto. So this is definitely going to be a great fight to start off the night. Again, you know, any one of these fights can be a candidate for fight of the year, and we really expect a lot of fireworks coming out of the gate. This is the first fight of the triple header on HBO. The telecast starts at 9:30 East Coast time, 6:30 here locally in Los Angeles. So for those people that can't make it to the forum, make sure to tune into HBO at 6:30 here on the West Coast. With that, I alluded to Donnie Nieta's headlining fights before here, 2 shows in the LA area, and now he's the opening fight. He's finally getting his big opportunity to fight on HBO, and I know Donnie is very excited, very proud to have the opportunity to fight on HBO. I want to bring up from ALA Promotions, ALA Promotions, to introduce Donnie, Peter Buzingi.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Peter, for making this possible. On behalf of Michael Aldeguer's ALA Promotions International, it is my privilege to introduce to you today one of the best boxers the Philippines has ever produced. Certainly one of the best pound-for-pound boxers. Champion at 105, 108, and 112. And certainly one person that can take on a fight given 1 month's notice. That's how disciplined he is. Ladies and gentlemen, he is, bar none, the longest reigning Filipino world boxing champion. 10 years and still counting. Ladies and gentlemen, Donnie Ahas the Snake Nietes.
good afternoon to all. I would like to thank the ABS-CBN and the ALA promotion, 360 promotion and the HBO. Medyo matagal-tagal ko na din na hihintay na laban ito. So ngayon, excited na talaga ako makipaglaban. WhatsApp na lang kayo kung paano ko siya tutuklawin ang ahas this coming Saturday. So ibigay ko talaga yung best fight ko na masaya na yung mga tao sa papanood. Thank you so much.
I've been waiting for this fight for a very long time, and watch out because the snake is gonna strike. Thank you very much. Johnny David.
I tell you, Peter, with that introduction, you might give Michael Buffer a run for his money. We're excited to have Donnie on the show. As Peter mentioned, the longest reigning Filipino world champion in boxing history. That's a great way to start out this HBO telecast. We know there's going to be a tremendous amount of Filipino fans supporting both Donnie and Brian Valoria. The Filipino media is here to cover both fighters, and I know it's going to be, they're going to put on a great show for the fans. Now to get into the co-feature, I'd like to bring in also someone that I've known for a long time, a good friend of mine who's very easy to deal with, who made the fight for McWilliam to fight Chocolatito before. He's been on the big stage. Now he's challenging for the vacant WBC silver title. If McWilliams can win that fight, he's right back in the mix for a world title fight. To introduce McWilliams Arroyo, who is part of the Puerto Rican Olympic team, I'd like to bring up Peter Rivera of PR Best.
Hi everybody. First of all, I want to thank all the press for being here today and cover this incredible event. Also, I want to thank Tom Offer to give it to us all the time opportunities to work together. He and his whole team are great people to work, very professional people. Also, I want to thank my friend Peter Nelson to give it to all these Puerto Rican fighters opportunities on HBO. And of course to Macallan Burchell. As everybody knows, Puerto Rico and Mexico always bring great fights. And I know that Cuadras and Arroyo will be part of that history, and of course will be an incredible and good fight. As everybody knows, Macallan has an incredible amateur career. He have a great fight against Chocolatito, and I know that next Saturday, will be another great fight against Cuadra. We are very sure that we're gonna win this fight. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in him, and we're looking to continue working together with Tom and HBO, and because we know that a win on Saturday will give it to us an opportunity for a world title fight. So now I want to introduce you, Macallan Arroyo. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to thank God for permitting all of us being here today. I want to thank all the boxers here today. Peter Nelson, Bill, thank you for this great opportunity. Tom Loffer, thank you once again. I've been training really hard. I want to thank my trainer that's been with me from day one, Anthony Otero. Peter Rivera has been with me all my pro career. I want to thank my family, and I've been training very hard. I know Gallo Estrada says he's in a win, and I'm most definitely ready. Yeah. So come Saturday night, you're gonna see a war, and you better be prepared. All right, thank you, guys.
This is one of those fights. It's for the vacant WBC silver title, but I think whenever you have great representative of Puerto Rico against a great representative of Mexico, you have that national rivalry. It seems like everyone that that competes on that stage really brings something extra to the game. So it's going to be a lot of fireworks in this fight. This is the co-feature of the night. I'd like to bring up someone now that he's training with the Abel Sanchez up at the summit in Big Bear, California. It's not very easy to train up there. Very harsh conditions with the high altitude, with the snow they've had up there recently. It seems like Abel's going to bring Carlos Cuadras to a whole different level. And he doesn't get any easy fights on HBO. Having to fight with William Arroyo is not easy at all. So we're looking forward to a lot of fireworks in this co-feature. I'd like to bring up Carlos El Principe Cuadras.
¿Qué tal todos? Buenas tardes. Quiero agradecer a 360 Promotions, a Tom Lofer, a HBO y a todos los que me brindan esta oportunidad nuevamente.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to thank Tom Loeffler, 360 Promotions, Peter Nelson, to everyone that's given me this opportunity.
Bueno, y pues quiero que sepan que ahora vengo mejor preparado que la pelea pasada. Hice una gran preparación, muy motivado, ahora con Abel Sánchez, compartiendo gimnasio con Gennady Golovkin, y creo que eso es un plus para mí que me da para esta pelea.
I'd like to tell you that I'm in great shape, better than the last fight. I trained up there with Abel Sanchez and with Triple G Golovkin, so I'm looking forward to showing you what I've learned up there.
Bueno, pues quiero que sepan que voy a entregar lo mejor de mí. En esta pelea voy a darlo todo. Quiero volver a ser campeón. Ese cinturón plateado, verde con plateado, se va a quedar conmigo. Y después vamos por el dorado que tiene aquí Siri Saquet. Y después, primero lo primero. Y pues voy a enfrentarme a Arroyo y voy a arrollar a Arroyo.
I'd like to tell you that I'm going to be well prepared for this fight. I'm looking forward to winning that silver belt, because the gold one is next. The one is sitting right here, and I'm looking forward to facing Arroyo.
Bueno, pues solo esperen la pelea, no se la pierdan. Va a ser una pelea muy buena, muy fuerte. Arroyo es un gran guerrero y creo que va a ser una de las mejores peleas de la noche. Entonces, esténse bien pendientes porque aquí traigo su medicina de Big Bear Shape para Arroyo. Muchas gracias.
You know that I'm ready to win. I have this medicine right here on my right fist. I'm going to give my all. Right now you're going to see a great fight.
And Carlos is very, very handsome.
I'm strong, I'm very, very handsome.
There you go. Baby. That's what we're waiting for. So with that, we get to the main event.
The next king.
We get to the main event here. Not only is it for the WBC Super Flyweight Championship, the top two guys in the division fighting against each other, two guys that have proven their mettle and championship caliber. Before we get to the combatants, I'd like to bring up the editor of Ring Magazine. This will be for the vacant Ring Magazine Super Flyweight Championship, Doug Fisher.
Hey everybody, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to be quick about this like the fighters have been. The belt right here. But like Mr. Loeffler said, and by the way, I want to give a special thanks to you, Tom, and to Peter for showcasing one of the deepest and most competitive divisions in all of boxing to an American audience. It's great for fight fans, hardcore fight fans, and casual fans, and it's great for these fighters because, as Mr. Loeffler has noted, these guys fight each other. The best fight the best. That's what we have with this entire card. That's what we definitely have with this main event between Mr. Runvisai and Mr. Estrada. These guys have been world class for several years. The first time I got a look at Mr. Estrada was at that 2012 card at the Sports Arena where Brian Valoria was the main event, and he put on a sensational show against Tyson Marquez. The co-featured bout was an unknown Estrada taking on Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, when Gonzalez was 32-0, and at the peak of his physical prowess, in my humble opinion, at his best weight, which was 108 pounds, and Estrada proved to the world that he was an elite boxing talent. He has an amazing style. He is a complete fighter. He is a boxer puncher. He is a technician. And against Runvisai, he's fighting a crusher. He's fighting a kind of guy that can impose his will on any style. And once again, these men have been on the championship level since 2013. So Runvisai beat a Japanese fighter named Yota Sato in May of 2013. Sato was Ring Magazine's #2 super flyweight contender at that time. And Estrada, that same year, as a matter of fact, right around the same time, he traveled to Macau and he beat Brian Valoria for 2 flyweight world titles. If you can beat Brian Valoria at flyweight, you're the real deal. So Estrada is the real deal at flyweight, and he proved he's the real deal at 115 pounds because he narrowly outpointed Mr. Cuadras over here. If you can beat Carlos Cuadras at super flyweight, you're the real deal. And obviously, Runvisai, 2 victories over one of my favorite fighters of all time, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Special note of appreciation to our good friends at the WBC for recognizing that Runvisai was worthy at another crack at their green belt at 115 pounds with that first fight with Gonzalez, and for also recognizing the controversial nature of the first fight of the year candidate, and mandating that rematch, which gave us a knockout of the year candidate. Totally broke my heart because I love Chocolatito, but the way that Runvisai beat Chocolatito, it let us know that he's truly special, and he's the boss right now. But the winner of Saturday's main event is truly a champion, with the monster Naoya Inoue making his move up to bantamweight and probably heavier. These guys are the #1 and #2 fighters at 115 pounds. They're the 2 best super flyweights in the world. When the best fight the best, the Ring Magazine Championship must be on the line. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, Doug. Doug is a boxing historian. He knows all that off the top of his head. Very deep boxing knowledge, and just extra. If it's not enough incentive to be the main event on HBO, defending the WBC Super Flyweight Championship at the Forum, a little extra incentive getting the Ring Magazine title as well. So with that, I know everyone's waiting to see the main event fighters come up here. This is what we've all been waiting for. It seems like everything is culminating now. All the fighters are here for fight week. I'd like to bring up, first I'd like to thank Zanfer Promotions. We have a good relationship with everyone at Zanfer. They're good to work with. Juan Carlos Torres, naturally Fernando Beltran. And I'd like to bring up the manager of Juan Francisco Estrada. I'd like to bring up Juan Hernandez to say a few words and then to introduce El Gallo.
I want to start by thanking HBO and Peter Nelson for supporting the Superfly series. A lot of times the fights between the small fighters don't get a lot of visibility or credit, and they end up being some of the best fights, like the card where Estrada fought Chocolatito back in 2012. So I'm really appreciative towards HBO and Peter. I want to thank Tom and his team at 360. Like everybody says, Tom is really a pleasure to work with. Tom's actually such a good promoter. He makes me almost root for Golovkin, but I think I have to go with Mexico. I want to thank our partners in Estrada's career, Zanfer Promotions, and Fernando Beltran, my partner and very good friend, probably Mexico's greatest promoter ever. We're very proud to represent Box Azteca from Mexico, the biggest boxing network in Mexico. We're really appreciative also to the Mexican media who came to cover the fight. I also want to thank Estrada's trainers who actually always make sure he shows up in tip-top shape. Jose Alfredo Caballero, his head trainer, the brothers Germán and Freddy León. They're, in my opinion, the best trainers out of Mexico. They also train Miguel Berchet, who's also here. I also want to mention, like Tom did, Pete Duran with Promociones Soccer. He's one of the best prospects, I think, in all of the sport. He's undefeated and has a terrific style, so his fight's going to be really good. And just before I introduce Estrada, I want to tell you guys a quick story about this fight. It's actually an interesting coincidence. The fight takes place on February the 24th, and February the 24th, when Estrada was 7 years old, is actually when his mom passed away from leukemia. So he's actually fighting in honor of his mom's passing. A few years after that, his dad passed away in a scuba diving accident. And him and his siblings were taken in by his aunt Lupita, who became their adoptive mother, so to speak. And nobody really knows, but a few months or 3 months before the Chocolatito Gonzalez fight, his aunt Lupita was hit by a car and killed in a hit-and-run accident that the car drove away and they never found the person. 3 months after that, Estrada went up and went to war with Gonzalez. He's actually the person that has been hit the hardest in life that I know, and he just gets tougher after everything that happens to him. So he's actually fighting in honor of his parents and his aunt, and I'm very proud for him for where he is. He's pretty much made it to the top of the sport. He's fighting in LA, one of the biggest boxing cities, on HBO, the biggest boxing network, for the WBC title, the Ring Magazine title. I'm extremely proud of him for the kid he is. When he won his belts against Deloria in his hometown, they actually had a little one-man parade. They had him sit on top of a fire truck with the sirens going, and they take him all around town. I think if he wins on Saturday, there's probably going to be another one-man parade. So let me introduce to you guys the pride of Puerto Peñasco, Juan Francisco El Gallo Estrada.
Buenas tardes a todos, estoy muy contento y agradecido con todos y cada uno de ustedes por estar aquí. Y pues también agradecer a Juan Hernández, mi promotor de Latin Sport, a mi equipo, a mi entrenador Afro Caballero y a HBO, a todos lo que hacen posible esta cartelera. Y pues vengo muy motivado, ¿no? Muy concentrado para esta pelea, ya que quiero pues ganar este cinturón.
Good afternoon to everyone. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to also thank the promoters, my promoter, Latin Sports, Peter Nelson of Hbo, Tom Loeffler for giving me this opportunity.
También agradecer al equipo de Runvisai por la oportunidad que nos ganamos y pues que me permiten ahora pelear este sábado con él. Yo creo que va a ser una pelea muy buena para todos ustedes y pues que ojalá la disfruten, y pues yo tengo que ganar porque para mí esta pelea es de honor y gloria.
I want to thank also Team Runvisai for giving me the opportunity. I know I earned that opportunity, but they don't always get it. He's given it to me, and I also, it's going to be a great fight. I come to win. There's no second thing about here. It's win or win, and I know this is a fight that'll put me at another level.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan Francisco, and thank you, Juan, for shedding light on, Juan Francisco's history, his family history. These are the opportunities that the sport of boxing really affords to fighters. Going through adverse circumstances, but if you become a world champion, if you can fight on HBO, fight in venues like the Forum, it really takes your career to another level. And it's a tremendous story. I know Sister Ket Runvisai last year had a whirlwind year. He fought Chocolatito twice. The WBC mandated the rematch. The first fight was somewhat controversial, but in the rematch, Sister Ket left no doubt who the champion was with a tremendous knockout, one of the candidates for knockout of the year. Sister Ket also came from very humble beginnings. He's now a national hero for his country of Thailand. He's become well known here in the United States, being on HBO pay-per-view, headlining an HBO show and now headlining his second HBO show as WBC Super Flyweight Champion. So with that, I'd like to bring up Bank, who has been a tremendous help in putting these fights together with Sister Ket. Bank represents Nakorlong Promotions. The fight will also be shown in Thailand. So to say a few words and to give the background of Sister Ket like nobody else can, I'd like to bring up Bank.
Thank you so much, Tom. Hello, everyone. On behalf of Macallan Promotion, I would like to say that it's a great honor for us and for Sisake to be here in the US fighting on HBO for the third time. We had a really great year last year, 2017, and we are extremely excited for 2018. We are very proud of what Sisake and my friend had done last year. We are very excited for this year, but I have to say thank you to a few people, a few groups of people that really gave us the opportunity to be here today. So first of all, the WBC and President Marcelo Sulaiman, who supported us from the very first day. The WBC has been a great support for us in getting the fight with Chocolatito. So without the WBC, we would not be here today. So thank you so much, the WBC and President Mauricio. Second, HBO and Peter Nielsen. Before the first fight with Chocolatito, I know that it would be really, really difficult to match up Sisake against Chocolatito, who was the #1 pound for pound in the world. Because here in the US and most of the parts in the world, people do not really know. People did not really know who Sisake was. People did not really know what he was capable of. But Peter had faith in us and had trust in us, and he gave us the opportunity to fight Chocolatito. So for that, we are very grateful and we are really appreciative for what HBO and Peter has done to us. So thank you so much, HBO and Peter. And third, Tom and 360 Promotion. From the very first day that we came here to the US on the first fight, we were an unknown challenger. But Tom and his team treated us like champions from the very first day when we were challenger. And for that, we are extremely grateful for them. And also, I would like to recognize our biggest supporter, M150. They have been with us for the very beginning. They supported Sisake from the very beginning of his career. So without M150, Sisake would not be boxing at all. So thank you so much, M150. So I would like to say that 1 year ago, I was at the press conference in Madison Square Garden. I was talking about before the first fight of Sisake versus Chocolatito. And I was saying that it would be a great fight. Sisake would give the people, the fans, a really good fight. It could be a potential fight of the year. But I knew that most people did not take me seriously, and maybe rightly so, because they have not seen what Sisake was capable of. But I was very serious back then. I was very serious because I knew that my friend right here could make the impossibilities possible so many times in his life. Only a little more than a decade ago, he was a trash collector. He was eating trash to survive. Most people said that he would not become anything but a trash collector. But then he turned his life around, he became a boxer. But then he won only 1 out of his first 5 fights, and he lost most of them. And people said that he could not become a decent, good fighter. But then after that, he won all of his fights, 7 straight 17 wins, all by knockouts, and become the world champion for the first time. And when he got matched up with Chocolatito, most people said that he got no chance. The odds for that fight was 14-1. So basically it was almost 0 chance for him. But he shocked the world. He beat the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world twice. So I really don't think that is it. I don't think that is a ceiling for him. I don't think that is anything that is impossible for him. So on Saturday night, we know that Gallo Estrada is a great fighter. We are not taking him lightly. And that's why we are so excited for Saturday night, because it will be such a great fight. But we are confident, we are very confident that Sisake will come out as a winner again, because this time, Sisake is not fighting alone anymore. He has the whole nation of Thailand behind him. All the Thai people are supporting him. And he's not only fighting for himself, he's not only fighting for his family anymore. He's fighting for the whole nation of Thailand. So I'm very confident that on Saturday night, Thailand will celebrate. On Saturday night, all the Sisagate fans from all around the world will celebrate. So for that, I would like to invite my friend Sisagate Runvisai to the podium. He might not say much because normally I do all the talking and he does all the punching people in the face. And that's how we roll. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you your reigning and defending champion of the world from Thailand, Sisagate Runvisai.
ขอบคุณ HBO แล้วก็ UBC มันฟานเอสโก้เอสตาด้าผมก็ดูศึกษาเทปมาตลอดก็เป็นมวยที่แข่งอึดทนและแข็งแรงครับแล้วก็ไฟนี่มันเป็นไฟที่ยิ่งใหญ่แล้วก็เป็นไฟสำคัญของผมก็จะผ่านมันไปให้ได้ครับผมสุดท้ายนี้ผมก็ขอฝากพี่น้องชาวไทยที่อยู่อเมริกาช่วยมาเชียร์ผมเยอะๆด้วยนะครับก็ขอฝากพี่น้องชาวไทยที่อยู่เมืองไทยช่วยเชียร์แล้วก็เป็นกำลังใจให้ผมด้วยนะครับขอบคุณมากครับ
I would like to thank HBO 360 Promotion and WBC for this opportunity. I have been studying Estrada a lot, and I know that he's a very good fighter. But I'm very well prepared, and I'm very confident that I'll win again in this fight. So I would like to invite all the Thais in LA and in the US to come to the fight and support me. And I also would like all the fans in Thailand and outside Thailand to watch this fight and support me. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Ket. Thank you, Bank. Again, this just embodies the sport of boxing, the WBC World Championship, the opportunities that it affords to people from very humble beginnings now becoming national heroes from their country. Sister Ket has not had it easy. He had to fight Chocolatito twice last year. Now he has to fight Juan Francisco Estrada as his mandatory challenger. I mean, every time he's on HBO, he's in a tough fight, but this is a tremendous main event. Both fighters are in great shape and want to put on a great show on Saturday night. Again, the door is open 3:30. The terrace at the Forum opens at 3 o'clock. First fight, 3:45. Tickets, we've released more tickets now on the upper level, $50 on the upper level because of the great demand. The $30 tickets on the lower bowl have sold out. And again, just want to show our appreciation for everyone and their support for this show. We're going to bring the fighters up now. A lot of world champions. Sorry it took a little bit longer, but with so much talent, we had a lot of fighters. So we're going to line them up here for photo opportunities. And we'll see you Saturday night at the Forum.
My phone died. It died? Yours is still at 4%. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's maybe the live stream takes a lot out of it. I don't know, but yeah, my camera. It took a long time. Yeah. I'm an hour 14 minutes, and I started right before we started talking. So yeah.
Whatever, 7 o'clock, run.
Gracias.
My friend Ryan.
Ramos.
Bien.
Aquí, por favor, aquí. No, espera. Face to face. Closer. Thank you, gentlemen. Any event,
Has the power, man.
Get out of the middle. Aquí, por favor.
Alright, buddy, everyone, subscribe to the channel. Always bringing you guys live press conferences, live weigh-in, stuff like that. Tomorrow will be the live weigh-in. I'm gonna get a view of everyone right now, but hit the subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow. I'll finish off with all this stuff. It's all the face-offs and stuff, so don't worry, we'll get everything.
All right, Pam. Lock hands. Mario ready.
Can't really fit all these guys all on my screen.
All the way in the back, please. Down here, please. Everybody look down here, sit down. Ready, down? Mario? Right here. Mario, one here. All the way to the back. First, please. Anybody want this now, please? Good, Tom? Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Alright, everyone, that's a presser. Thank you for watching. We'll see what else we could get while we're walking around here. So if you guys want to stick with me, you can go ahead and do that.
315, back down here, 315.
Remember, fighters, 315 back down here for physicals, licensing, 315 right back in this room. Thank you.
He's out. Any luck or what?
I'm leaving.
Oh, just you could leave. Oh, you didn't get anything?
Yeah, nobody's here. I'm gonna put him back here for you.
All right, cool. Appreciate that.
He said no.
Oh, he actually said no?
Los pesos pequeños creo que lo merecemos, somos unos guerreros, ¿no? Todos somos unos peleadores que damos unos grandes shows y pues espero que este Superfly sea el segundo, el único, ¿no? Que salga el 4 y espero estar en todos, ¿no? Creo que esta pelea va a ser una pelea muy buena y que a la gente le gusta verme pelear, entonces me gustaría pelear por el título mundial en la siguiente pelea y que sea con el que sea, ya sea el Estrada o ya sea Runvisai.
Te lo voy a cambiar.
Con el que sea, yo lo que quiero es volver a ser campeón.
Se prende de aquí, le dejas apretado y se prende.
Sí, claro, son los mejores peleadores del mundo, entonces está como que la crema innata de la división, ¿no? Y eso es lo que lo hace una función atractiva.
Oye, Cuadras, hoy el próximo sábado para ti es todo o nada, ¿no? Prácticamente para volver a...
Claro, tengo que regresar a la elite de los Superfly. Quiero volver a ser campeón y esta es la oportunidad, ¿no? Tengo que ganar esta pelea, cueste lo que cueste y yo tengo la medicina, tengo la condición y ahora me siento más fuerte que otras veces.
Carlos, ¿cuál fue la diferencia de tu entrenamiento a esta nueva versión de ti? ¿Cuál es la diferencia?
Ahora estuve trabajando bastante fuerza física, que es algo que me había hecho falta, yo pienso en las últimas peleas. La rapidez, soy natural, rápido, la estuve trabajando también. Y aparte tengo la motivación y tuve la disciplina de estar en Big Bear. Ahora le dicen el Big Bear Shape, es como Big Bear donde agarras más condición y donde uno se siente muy bien, ¿no? Muy enfocado y es como estar en el otomí, muy concentrado. Creo que ahora van a ver una nueva versión de Carlos Cuadras.
Carlos, ¿qué te reporta estar entrenando ahora con el equipo de Abel Sánchez y Golovkin?
Bueno, pues toda la motivación, como te digo, y adquirir toda la experiencia, ¿no? que me ha dado Abel Sánchez, acomodar bien los golpes, a tener esa fuerza física, ahora dar el peso desde antes para que no me cueste trabajo. Ahora me siento muy bien, he estado comiendo bien esta semana y no voy a llegar nada débil a la pelea.
Oye, después de las últimas peleas, últimos resultados, ¿estás obligado a dar una actuación contundente, incluso a noquear a Rui?
Sí, claro que sí. Yo creo que puedo tener el gas para noquearlo. Me siento comprometido ahora con mi gente y conmigo mismo para salir avante esta pelea y salir muy bien. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
All right, let's see what else we can get into here. So, like autograph guys here. See who else we could get here. Yeah, we're trying to see if we could get anybody else. You guys get anybody? You guys get anybody?
Siempre el campeón es el favorito, pero yo quisiera que ganara Estrada porque es necesario.
Ganó el 24, a ver si puede hacer lo que estaba diciendo. Eso lo veremos ahí arriba.
¿Cómo consideras o cuáles son tus mejores armas boxísticas que tienes para tener a Carlos Cuadras?
Eso vuelvo a ir a repito, el 24 va a ver lo que yo sepa. Creo que subir 115 me va a favorecer muchísimo. No tengo que sacrificar tanto como antes para hacer 113 libras, así que creo que eso puede estar a mi favor.
Problemas por el huracán María imposibilitaron en algún punto tu preparación, tu mente se llevó a ir a otro lado por todo lo que ha acontecido en tu país.
Por lo menos en cuanto al entrenamiento, nunca en mi caso afectó, como que sí afectó el país como tal, la energía eléctrica, pero el entrenamiento no, podemos hacerlo.
El ambiente de tu país, como hablaste la semana pasada, hace 15 días, Puerto Rico consiguió el título de Serie del Caribe, era una alegría. ¿Tú sientes también como una responsabilidad de dar un poco a tu país para que olvide lo que sucedió?
Yo todo lo que hago siempre he sido representando a mi país, aficionado, todo lo que hago siempre ha sido para...
Arroyo, ¿estás preparado para una decisión o la pelea se acaba por la vía corta?
Sabemos nosotros que en el boxeo puede pasar cualquiera de las cosas y estamos listos para lo que sea.
¿Estás listo para noquear? ¿En qué round se acaba la pelea?
No, no he dicho eso, pero estamos listos para, si nos lastimamos y podemos aprovechar, claro que lo podemos hacer. Pero nunca me voy nunca soy presumido, porque veremos el 24 a ver qué pasa.
¿Qué es lo que puede esperar la gente de ustedes el día 24?
Yo entiendo que va a ser una gran pelea, nuevamente México contra Puerto Rico. Yo sé que él dice que va a ganar, yo voy a mí, entrando muchísimo, así que va a ser una gran pelea.
Oye, de salir con el triunfo, también te esperaría otra pelea con el Gallito, con Saquet.
Aquí todos, entiendo que todos los ganadores van a tener peleas difíciles, así que ha sido inmenso para toda la fanaticada y para mí es un placer poder estar a este nivel y estoy aquí para eso, para que
A Cuadras le gusta hablar un poquito de más, ¿no? Pero todo se decidirá allá arriba del ring.
Sí, no, eso a mí no me preocupa para nada. Como siempre he dicho, ahí arriba es que se muestra que es el mejor y al final pues ganará el mejor. No, gracias a Dios, yo tuve la dicha de que no pasó nada en mi casa. Tuvimos alrededor de un mes y medio, pero lo manejamos muy bien y sabemos dar gratis en mi casa. Están mejorando ahí ciertas partes que todavía no tienen especial, pero el capítulo sí está mejorando.
¿Hiciste algún tipo de colaboración, de solidaridad?
Sí,
no sea la mejor.
Sí, yo tengo un part-time en el municipio de Cajallo y estuvimos alrededor de 4 un poquito más ayudando a la comunidad. No estábamos trabajando en la sociedad de Gitelson, por ejemplo, yo estoy en el área de boxeo, llevamos mucha comida, agua, ayudamos a montar techo en casa y ayudamos muchísimo a la comunidad gracias al municipio de Cajallo.
Cuando te das cuenta del sufrimiento que puede pasar la gente, tus compatriotas, te das cuenta que el boxeo pues, es realmente un deporte, no es tanto como un sufrimiento como realmente puede ser.
No, yo siempre he sabido que el boxeo es un deporte y pues claramente para entretener el equipo.
Arroyo, ¿piensan que están faltando respeto a su nombre porque él habla mucho? ¿Piensas que los fanáticos están faltando respeto a su nombre porque él habla mucho?
No sé, yo creo que esa es su personalidad, su forma de ser en este deporte, pero no pienso en eso.
¿Importa a usted que él hable mucho todo eso?
No, cada cual que hable pues tiene que demostrar ahí arriba. Si no lo demuestra ahí arriba, pues el que va a tener más es él.
¿Cómo va a ganar? ¿Knockout? ¿Decisión?
Estamos preparados para lo que sea. El área de entrada es muy fuerte y creo que subir las 115 libras va a estar a mi favor. Así que vamos a ver qué pasa el 24.
Diga a los fanáticos dónde pueden seguir, Facebook, Instagram, todo eso.
Por Instagram, Williams Arroyo 2 y por Facebook, Williams Arroyo.
Buena suerte. Muchas gracias. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Wait, I'll talk to Tom. Let's talk to Tom Loeffler. Almost here.
So the first step is the fighters want to fight. That's the flyweight, super flyweight divisions. They're willing to fight fights the best fight the best. We're the main event, super top. Fighters in their division.
It's the first fight, right?
this. And the winners of this show,
I'll just talk to Tom Walker about Triple G and Gallo, so share with your friends, tell your friends about it. We're about to get under some of this fight.
Cuadras fighting Royal, Mexico versus Puerto Rico, that classic matchup where it seems like they rise to the occasion when you have that type of battle. And then naturally, Donnie Nieves defending his title inside the flyweight title. Which I learned today, he's the longest reigning world champion from he's fighting against Macallan Burchell. Wins, he'll be a 5-time world champion against undefeated Artem Zalakian from Ukraine. So I could go on and on talking about the show, but it's just it's a pleasure to work with everyone that's involved. Zanford Promotions, Nagpur Long Promotions, Taking Promotions, Mr. Honda, Union Box Promotions, Peter Rivera, PR Best Promotions, Promociones del Pueblo. There's so many Ala promotions from, I know I'm going to forget one, Elvis Grant, he brought Lisa out from Australia. Again, Harry Gitelson was working with so it takes a lot of cooperation from the fighters and promoters, television companies. This is like 3 television stations in Mexico, 2 television stations in Argentina, 3 television stations in Philippines, Thailand, Japan, and Ukraine, actually in the European countries. This is not only on HBO here in the United States, on TV, but international countries, and that's what makes it such a fun show to work with. All the international flavor,
Everyone like, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all live in the video. Like it real quick. Doesn't cost anything. And hopefully we'll get some good stuff about Tom. Put your questions on the comment section so I could see them and I could ask them. Put sus preguntas en el comments para preguntar a Tom Walker.
Was tougher to make this one and bring those guys back. If you can judge those, tell us which one was harder to get.
I would say this one, just because we have so many people from so many different countries, and I was talking about the visas. You know, the guys from Argentina, they just got their visas last Thursday. They got Thursday or Friday. Well, Ukraine, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Thailand, and naturally the Philippines. Yeah, so 6. Yeah, plus we saw from Australia. You can say 7. I would say this one was tougher to make. The first one we had been planning for a while with a rematch that was mandated the sister cat in Chocolatito. Then we knew Cuadras had to fight Estrada, which is also mandated from the WBC, and we knew Inoue wanted to fight, make his debut over here in the U.S. on HBO. Brian Meloria was on the fight right before the HBO broadcast. So the first one came together relatively smoothly. This one, there was a lot of moving parts. We reached out to Defy to be on this show. They had turned down the opportunity to be on it, but I think this platform like Superfly on HBO in all the international countries, it really brings a spotlight to these live videos. You know, we just announced the location today, Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas. We have a lot of media that we're going to be doing. He's already in training up in Big Bear with April Sanchez, Dr. Sanchez, which is knockout formula.
Appreciate you, buddy. I forgot about it. Thank you.
He's a professor of knockouts for Dr. Sanchez here in California. And Carlos Cuadras, we're going to see rejuvenated Carlos Cuadras for, he lost to Estrada last fight. Now he says he's twice as strong.
You got two, Frankie?
He wants to get back.
I should probably get another one. You got two? Or? That's a good idea. Oh, it actually says on here you paid $20. It's worth a shot.
Thank you, Peter.
No, it's a good idea.
All the fans watching on Polsat. Polish fans are some of the most knowledgeable boxing fans. I have to give them, since we did that great show with Tali Klitschko going over there to fighting Tomas Hamlet, exactly, but in Warsaw, one of the premier stadiums in the world. That was a beautiful stadium and a beautiful night, and the Polish boxing fans have consistently voted Triple G their top fighter, so we know they're knowledgeable boxing fans.
They're gonna watch Superfly too. Thank you very much. Very cool. Thank you for
make sure Paul said live Cinco de Mayo.
Next.
You good?
How you doing, Tom? Yeah, got the background going?
Is that a good angle?
It is.
I like how you guys light them up. It's different.
This is good, yeah. That's Tecate.
You're going all out, Tom. This is your first official show. You're not new to this, but this is the 360 Promotions. He's talking about the change in general of K2 and 360 and what the future expecting. It's a great fight, great card.
360 gives me a little more flexibility to sign fighters. We're going to do some local shows. Our first fight is going to be March 27th. Well, this is the first fight, actually. We're honored to have the first fight of 360 Promotions on HBO at the Forum. WBC World Championship fight for the super flyweight division. 3 world title fights on the show. I mean, this it really doesn't get better than Superfly 2 on Saturday night. But then we're going to start a series March 27th in Los Angeles to build fighters and hopefully get them up to the HBO level. So, we're excited. We're also excited about Cinco de Mayo. That's going to be Triple G Promotions, but Triple G fighting Canelo Alvarez. We just announced the location for that. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be like a boxing holiday up there in Las Vegas. A fight that a lot of people have been demanding since it was a controversial draw the first time around, and now we'll see both guys, both Canelo and Triple G, say they want to make it a clear winner. Canelo says he's going for a knockout this time. Triple G says he's going to make it an even more dominant performance than the last time. So I think it's going to be to a completely, to even a higher level than the first fight. We're really excited about Cinco de Mayo.
Tom, was there any hesitation with Vegas being with the decision last time? I mean, some people have told me that they were okay with the draw, but that one scorecard obviously was pretty rough.
Told me they weren't okay with it, especially Triple G and Abel. They were very disappointed in the scorecards. At least 2 of the scorecards, they were happy with Kenny Bayless as a referee. And you have to give Dave Moretti, you can't just criticize bad decisions, you have to give Dave Moretti a lot of credit. He scored at 7-5, Harold Letterman scored at 8 rounds to 4. That's how we had it on the Triple G side. Nobody expected Canelo to be as elusive, as defensive as he fought. Abel Sanchez has a great quote. He says, Canelo entered the ring as a Mexican and left as Floyd. So, with his style, he was very defensive. And, he's only the second person ever to go 12 rounds with Triple G. And I've never seen Canelo get booed like he did in front of his fans. There were about 60% of the fans were there supporting Canelo. And I don't know if that for some reason, influenced the judges' cards. But, the second time around, I know Canelo and Eddie Reynoso and Chapo Reynoso, they're going to make adjustments. Triple G and Abel Sanchez are going to make adjustments on their side. And I think we're going to see an even more exciting fight on Cinco de Mayo.
Why is it so hard to beat Vegas as a venue in boxing?
Madison Square Garden put up a tremendous offer. They even offered more money than we generated in the first fight. It was clear that Canelo definitely wanted to go back to Las Vegas. And so, I sat down with Eric Gomez of Golden Boy Promotions. Vegas put in a very strong bid, and it wound up going to Las Vegas. So we had a great time in Las Vegas. We promoted a lot of shows in Nevada. Triple G's host hotel was Mandalay Bay. We were the co-promoter with Zanfer of the Salito fight that was up there in Mandalay Bay just in December. We promoted Klitschko fights in Las Vegas. And, everything was fine until we got the scorecards. And there was one that was, it's just, we can't look back. We have to look forward. Certainly, I think everyone's learned from the first time. And Gennady is going to start faster. Look, if you win 8 rounds to 4 and you get a draw, I don't know that much more you can do to get the decision up there. But he's going to start faster. I'm sure he's going to work on cutting the ring off a little bit better and going to the body more, to leave even less doubt. And Canelo says he's going for the knockout. The only way you can get a knockout is to actually stand in the middle of the ring and fight. So I think both guys are going to raise their level. The fans are going to put a lot of pressure on Canelo to fight, not to be as defensive this time, and I think it's going to be a tremendous matchup for the rematch.
Is there going to be a different procedure as far as selecting the judges?
Well, the Nevada Commission, the local commission, will select the judges, but certainly both sides can object to anyone. We didn't have an issue with Don Trella. He's done Klitschko fights before. He's done Triple G fights before. Adelaide Bird has done a number of Klitschko fights and Triple G fights. So, on the surface, there wasn't a big issue. Abel Sanchez expressed concern with one of the judges, but that's why you have 3 judges. We thought if one judge had an off night, then you would have 2 judges that would see it. Whoever won the fight, but this is the reason why we're doing the rematch. We want to give the fans a decisive victory one way or the other on Cinco de Mayo, and we thought it was decisive the first time, but now it's going to be back on Triple G and Canelo to put on a show for the fans, and if it ends in knockout, Gennady had 23 knockouts in a row. He had one of the longest streaks that we've seen as a champion in boxing, and I think he's going to be going for a knockout, not to leave it in the judges' hands, and Canelo says he's going for the knockout. So it should be a great show on the 5th.
Did you guys have to succumb to the demand of not fighting in New York and only Las Vegas? Did you have to succumb to that to make the fight? I mean, obviously the fight's big enough to make it. Doesn't matter where it takes place, but did you guys kind of have to succumb?
Well, again, we've made concessions on a number of different issues. Just the fact that Triple G is the champion. He's not only a middleweight champion, he's a unified champion. He's got multiple world titles, and Canelo has the top billing. So those are the type of concessions we made. But look, those are small relative to the overall show. If we can get this opportunity, both Canelo and Triple G had their biggest paydays from the last time. They actually need each other to put on this type of a mega event. Canelo needs Triple G to break 1 million buys, and so does Triple G needs Canelo. We set the 3rd highest gate in boxing history, if you can imagine that, for 2 fighters not from the U.S., and we set the 3rd highest gate in Las Vegas. I mean, that's a tremendous statement for both guys' fan bases, and how marketable Triple G and how marketable Canelo is.
Last thing, Tom, and without Mayweather and McGregor going in before you guys like last time, obviously you're going to benefit. The pay-per-view should be higher. Do you predict anything of any kind of number?
Just the fact that look at the announcement, with The Rock announcing the fight, and just the reaction we've gotten so far on the social media and just the fan reaction. Everyone was asking, once we announced the fight, where's the fight going to be? Everyone wanted to book their flights. Everyone wanted to book their hotel rooms, and now they can go to Las Vegas. So
Mayweather and McGregor's they're not in the picture this time.
It's not in the picture. So look, they did a tremendous amount on their ticket sales, on their pay-per-view buys. I think without an event like that before this, I think it'll be even that much more successful. this time around. So, you know, we did very well the first time. This time it seems like, besides the Superfly 2 show, it seems like everyone's talking about the rematch. So it's going to be a fun promotion leading up to May 5th.
I mean, I know this one's pointless, but Mayweather could possibly face Mayweather in a rematch in MMA. What's your take on that? What do you
Look, I think Floyd clearly beat Conor in a boxing ring, and I think the same would happen in an octagon where Conor, that's his playground. That's where he dominates, and I think Conor would beat Floyd in the octagon. So I don't know how serious talks of that are, but that would be what I would say is, I think Conor would dominate in the octagon.
Tom, with the decision going the way it did, you guys feeling you won, at least 8 rounds to 4. Is there a concern that Triple G is going to go for the knockout maybe a little too much, like kind of like only wait for one shot, things like that, like maybe game plan a little differently because they don't want it to go to the scorecards that much more?
I think the pressure's on Canelo. Like I said, it's the first time I'm a Canelo fan. When he's not fighting Triple G, when he knocked out Kirkland, when he knocked out Khan, those are some spectacular knockouts. I mean, people say he knocked out smaller guys, but I think the pressure's on Canelo. When the fans booed him for the interview afterwards, whether they were booing the decision, whether they were booing his style, I think the fans are putting pressure on him to put on a more exciting fight the next time, and that's where I think the pressure's on him. Triple G and Hbo, felt very confident that they won the last fight, and so I don't think there's much that they need to change on their side. It's a matter of what Canelo's going to change, and I think both sides are going to make adjustments naturally, like you would do on a rematch. Both guys have been in there now, not only 12 rounds last time, but they sparred against each other. They have a lot of respect for each other. But I noticed an edge both on Triple G side and the Canelo side, where now it's like they have something to prove. The first fight they had respect for each other. Now it's like, okay, now I'm going to go out there and really make sure there's no question who the winner is going to be.
Appreciate the time, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Marcos, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I know they wanted to say hello to you first.
May I say hello? My friend wants to say hello.
Yeah. My friend Osvaldo, how are you? ¿Cómo estás, my amigo? Follow your instructions. Everything okay?
Busy. What's up, brother? How'd it go? Good? Yeah, it was good stuff.
Good, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too, man.
So they took them off my hats and took them off my head. And the next thing you know, I looked and they were just
They're all on the way. Hey, man, you
I
got
was
it.
waiting for to make sure that the coast was clear.
Yeah, I took go get him. Oh, man. There's vultures in here. Yeah, I talked to Mark. All right, guys, so that's it. Wow, long day, long press conference. Thank you for watching. Yeah, my boy Efren using his phone. So tune into the YouTube for all the interviews that are already on there. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, all that stuff. Appreciate you guys' support as always.